Hello, everyone. It's Randy here with you with another episode of Randy on the Road. It's been a little while since I've come to you from the road, and I'm recording this from V&V Supremo Foods in Chicago, Illinois. We've been hauling milk here since 1987. Family-owned Mexican cheese factory, very well-known brand, and proud to provide them service. This milk that I'm hauling in here today comes from a farm in Francisville, Indiana. So Indiana milk helping to make just incredible, delicious Mexican cheeses. Just awesome stuff. Enough of the advertisement. I'm coming to you tonight to tell you a little bit about myself. For those of you who have started following me on social media, you might think I'm just this political animal who yells at NIPSCO, gets on and gives you my thoughts on all the various issues of the day, and that I'm a bit of a government nerd. But there's a little more to me than that. I grew up in Southlake County, lived there all my life. My grandfather's dad was an immigrant from Germany. My grandmother's family has 7 generations of history in the area. And so we've got pretty deep roots here in Northwest Indiana. I was born and lived in Lowell through first grade. And then we moved to unincorporated Hanover Township, where I attended Hanover schools, Jane Ball Elementary and Hanover Central for middle school and high school. Went on to attend at Indiana University, came back to work in the family business. I've had my CDL since I was 18. I've got 3 million miles of trucking experience, and pretty proud to just be an average working guy. Politics is something I was always passionate about, the government, the history of our country. This idea that we govern ourselves is something that I've always felt a draw to. I got a chance when I was a young kid to, there goes an L train overhead, but got a chance as a young kid to ride in an old car with my grandfather, Adolf, while he was driving that car in a campaign for his brother, Ernie. That's great Uncle Ernie, and he would be greeting people, shaking hands along the parade route, throwing out his bags of peanuts. And it was fascinating to me to watch that, right? To see this guy connect with so many people, and everybody knew him. Everybody knew my grandpa too, and what an introduction, right, to public service. It was old-fashioned retail politics. It was shaking hands, knowing people by their first name. And now we have social media, these platforms, this one that I'm on right now, where we even get a better chance to really take a look into the window of life, but we've lost some of that personal connection. And I hope that I can, through a video like this, just give you a little insight as to who I am and what leads me to do what I do here in local government. So growing up in unincorporated Hanover Township, it was an awesome childhood, right? Growing up in the 1980s is like a fantasy, I think, to some kids now. I see the memes on various social media platforms and find myself transported back to those days, and I sure do miss them. They're pretty simple times. But I'm also thankful to be living at the time that I'm living right now, and thankful for the opportunity that all of you have given me to serve you. So public service is something that my family has believed in and been involved in for a long time. The public servant, though, that was my guiding light in this was my grandmother, Delphine. I told this story a lot on the congressional campaign trail, but some of you may not have heard it. She was a 35-year cafeteria worker at Jane Ball and Hanover schools, and she retired at the age of 70, passed away at the age of 71 from cancer. And you know, when I was standing in that line at her visitation, and we had to have several visitations for her because people made requests to come in and pay their respects from all around the country. And the stories that they shared about she would take money out of her own purse and put it in the cash register to make sure a kid had a hot meal, because those days you didn't have all the free and reduced lunch that you have now. It was very rare to see that in a school system. And she would take money out of her own purse and made sure a kid had a hot meal. And that story was shared so many times about her generosity and her giving and her service to people. I learned right then that public service doesn't mean a title. It means an action or a set of actions. It means a feeling, a heart, an emotion, an idea that we are supposed to, if we're lucky enough to be born in this great country, we are supposed to do something to make a difference in someone's life. That stuck with me. I was 16 years old when she passed away. And that had a massive impact on my life and always stuck right there in the back of my brain. So I fast forward my life into my 20s, meet my wife, get married in 2002. Boy, time flies, right? Holy smokes. And we have two beautiful children. Our daughter works as a nurse in Nashville, Tennessee now. She graduated from the University of Alabama. She's also a graduate of Hanover Central High School. My son is a teamster working for Smith Ready Mix as a concrete mixer driver. Very proud of both of them. They've chosen tremendous paths in their life and they work hard. But in my 20s, I was just like any other guy in their 20s. I was running hard, working hard, trying to make something of myself. And then I got sick back in 2007. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I had two young kids at home, and I went through a year of pretty bad health. Ended up at the University of Chicago Hospital, where I ended up having a surgery to repair my insides. And I was laying on a hospital bed one night. They handed me a DNR, and I had young kids at home, and I always thought about the service model that my grandmother gave me in lessons. And I thought about how I hadn't really done anything in my life other than really work hard, and which is great. I like working. But I wanted to do something more. I wanted to serve. I wanted to give back. So I made a vow to myself in that hospital bed that night in 2008, where I said, if I make it through this surgery, I am going to get out of here and I'm going to figure out how to get involved. Well, I got through the surgery, and the very next month I went and applied for the Redevelopment Commission in Cedar Lake and was appointed to that. And at the time, the Cedar Lake Town Council had 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and it was the Democrat Town Council president that appointed me to that open spot. God rest Denny Wilkening's soul. I miss that man every day. But what an opportunity to get in and learn at just a simple level, learn the simple fundamentals of local government, public service. Well, 2 years later, I ran against Denny for town council, and I beat him. And had my opportunity to serve on town council, and that was an incredible experience. The first term was a steep learning curve. You feel like you're drinking from a fire hose at times. There was a lot to do. Cedar Lake was a growing community, and we were under a frozen levy from the state, which meant that every year our property tax numbers were the same, and we had to figure out how to try to provide service with that frozen levy. We were able to, in 2013, in my first term, bring the Cedar Lake Fire Department from an all-volunteer fire department to a professional municipal fire and EMS department. Very proud to work with the Cedar Lake Fire Department. And it was that one guy, Denny Wilkening, who actually led the charge in that meeting of the volunteers where I was the town council president. And he pushed it over the edge to make sure that that fire department had a sustainable future. And they joined the town of Cedar Lake at that time with his urging. And we grew that department throughout my time on the Cedar Lake Town Council. And what a tremendous journey, and great people that I worked with there, and had such an opportunity to do some incredibly consequential things, and paving streets and building new water infrastructure and investing in sewer expansions and sewer interceptor lines. And I learned so much through all of those processes. And it led me to 2022, where I decided that I wanted to move forward, and it was time for me to step away from Cedar Lake and give another person a shot. I don't believe in staying in one place for too long. I think that you can become stagnant without even knowing it, and it was time for some new ideas. And so I ran against the incumbent for Lake County Council at that time, and managed to win that primary, and won that general election. And it's been that first month on the county council, I remember that was another situation where I'm drinking from a fire hose, but with a lot more experience. But all of a sudden, we got the report from the State Board of Accounts that Lake County was unauditable. We got that award because of the complete mismanagement of books by Lake County auditor, bad transfer of financial management systems, lack of training, you name it. Right? It was all those things you can imagine. And, but again, I took that local government experience and invested that in the process of finding solutions. And within a year, we were auditable again. We found some immediate solutions, and we were working on continued fundamental solutions that'll create better accountability, better systems in county government. Challenge for me on Lake County government, as I'm one of 2 Republicans that serves on the county council with 5 Democrats. And listen, we all get along. I think we all have decent personal relationships. They have philosophies as it relates to how government should be managed, and I have sometimes different philosophies. I take more of a business approach as a small business owner. My brother and I own and operate Niemeyer Milk Transfer Incorporated out in unincorporated Hanover Township. Haul milk from dairy farms. Been doing that, family has, for over 100 years. I've been doing it now for 31. And so I come at it from that perspective of someone that works with farmers every day, works in agriculture, that public service should have some business aspects to it. It should make some sense, some common sense. And many times these big government systems become nothing but a machine. So I've been working hard these last 4 years to implement little nuggets of that common sense and that business sense into a system that has been run by one party for 100 years, and that has lacked that connection to what a modern government business model looks like. And we're making progress. We've had some tremendous economic development successes in my county council district. Looking out on the horizon, there could be more. And there's challenges too that go with that, and we're working on governance of those things to make sure that the stuff that happens, we're not falling victim to, but we're planning and managing and working through the steps. The next 4 years, I hope to have an opportunity to implement some of those initiatives that will help us gain that efficiency we need, that compliance, to manage our government in a way that shrinks its size, increases its effectiveness, and meets the challenges of what we see coming with Senate Enrolled Act 1 of 2025. County government's going to have to shrink its levy by a substantial percentage to meet that requirement, which means that we're going to have to shift government expenses to one of 4 buckets. You've got levy, which is your property taxes. You've got income tax, got user fees, and grants. So currently what our goal is once that requirement that the state has on us, where we take 1% of that 1.5% of the income tax and apply it to property tax credits, once that requirement is gone and we lower our levy by the same amount of that credit, we can get rid of that 1% of the 1.5% of that income tax, give the taxpayers a real benefit, get our government fitting in a more efficient, slim model, and implement the policies and the controls that'll help to manage it that way. And Lake County will not go broke. We have good income streams at Lake County. We have a lack of controls. We have some spending problems there. But we're working hard to get them fixed. And like I say, myself as just one of 2 Republicans on the council, there are challenges times politically. While we work very well together most times, there are still challenges. So if you've seen my campaign stuff this time, it is experienced, skilled, and bold is what you see on the campaign stuff. The mailers, the pluggers. And I put that on there because, as I shared with you, I do have quite a bit of experience in local government. And through that experience, I've developed a good bit of skill in understanding how rate-based property tax systems work, how the local income tax system works, where the opportunities, weaknesses, and threats are at Lake County Government Center. I know the questions to ask, right? So many times, just as the same as you're entering a query into your Google machine, that it's about the query you put in, right? So it's the question you ask, knowing who to ask the question to, what question to ask, where to find the information. And that's something experience and skill does bring to the table. Bold. Why do I put that in there? Because it takes bold action sometimes to stand up there and call it out and know you're going to get voted down, but not to give up. To not make excuses that, well, I'm in the minority party, so I just need to go along. No, it's about finding solutions. It's not about blaming people. It's about focusing on what you have in front of you, what you can control, making decisions, making adjustments, and even when the answer is no, you don't give up on doing the right things. So I hope you'll give me a chance to serve another 4 years, and I hope that this video here gave you a little insight into who I am, some of that experience that I have, some of the skill set, the bold action that I take. I've been proud to be your representative here in South Lake County in the 7th District for going on 4 years now, and would love an opportunity to continue that journey and work with you and right beside you to make sure that your government is living within its means. It's doing its job, its constitutional charter to the best of its ability. We're putting talented people in a position to succeed on your behalf, and that we're running it ethically and transparently. So, May 5th, jump in that voting booth. I'm running for Lake County Council 7th District and State Convention Delegate. So I'd appreciate your vote on both. If you're in my Convention Delegate District, if not, I definitely appreciate your vote on the Lake County Council race. It would be my great honor, and I humbly ask for your support on May the 5th. Thank you very much, and see you soon.